you are going to divide radical by radical. And there's one additional rule. A radical cannot be on bottom. Okay? A radical cannot be on bottom. That is going to be a little confusing. A lot of people struggle with that because they don't recognize an answer. And I'm going to kind of show you how to do that a little bit so you at least recognize your answers. So you can, I forgot to finish the word. So you can do that. So we're going to start with something real easy. Four radical 9 over 2 radical 3. Okay, so this one's going to be an easy version, then we'll go to a harder version. Four divided by 2 is? 9 divided by 3 is? Can I simplify it? Okay. So if they were all just like that, that would be perfect. All right, so we'll look at another one. And I'll do it so you can see it. How about that? So 9 radical 5 divided by 3 radical 2. Yeah, so the 9 divided by 3 is easy. I can't really divide 5 by 2, can I? So we end up in this kind of situation. And I can't have a radical on bottom. And here's the trick with fractions. Okay? I'm going to multiply this by 1. What is it going to do if I multiply it by 1? It's going to keep the value the same, right? But I'm going to be fancy about my 1. I'm going to multiply it by this. Is this still 1? Radical 2 divided by radical 2 is 1, right? And this is how I simplify this. 3 radical 5 times radical 2. Well, that's number times number, so 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 2 is? Radical 2 times radical 2 is what? Radical 4, yeah? What's the square root of 4? So this is my final answer. And this is kind of weird, but that's how it works. The calculator does a lot of this, but I need you to understand what you're doing with it, because in geometry especially, you're going to see it a bunch. In this class, you're going to see it, well, you're going to see it the rest of this week, and you're going to see it on the final, right? Because we're not going to do a lot with this. But we do cover this. You might have covered this last year. I don't know. Probably not. Probably you didn't cover this last year because of, the whole COVID and closing school, We closed school last year on Thursday, right? Because we closed school the day before spring break. And then we haven't been normal since, right? And they kept saying, oh yeah, we'll go back. We'll extend spring break by a week. Remember all that? And then they just canceled school. And then they said you don't really have to do work. You can just keep your grade from the third block. You remember that? Yeah. So how many people did a lot of work? I mean, it was a good deal, but a lot of people didn't do a lot of work. And so I'm going to be a little bit slower on this just to make sure you get this information. I'm going to do one more of these. Don't make them hard. And again, your calculator helps big time on this. Let's do this one. This may or may not be on your worksheet. But I think it looks hard because you got to do some extra stuff. Okay, 5 divided by 1, what do I do? Nothing, right? So this is going to be 5. 6 divided by 15. Well, Let's go ahead and just do my little trick and see what that works. Because this feels wrong. It feels like it should be easier than this. But let's just try this and see what happens. And you might not have the feeling that it feels wrong, but those numbers just feel too big to me. Okay, I know 15 times radical 15 is just going to be it's going to equal 225, which is a perfect square. So you can just skip to this where it's just 15. What's 6 times 15? 90. Okay. So this is great and all, but I guarantee you can simplify this, right? First of all, 5 over 15. Can you simplify that fraction?
Yes.
What does that become? It becomes 1 over 3, right? And radical 90, put it in your calculator. Surely you can simplify 1 over radical 90, right? I think that's 3 radical 10, right? Am I right or am I wrong? Did you put the whole thing in? Well, I didn't. I'm not talking about the whole thing. I want you to understand the parts, and then the calculator can help you with the rest. I didn't do anything there. So this would be 1 times 3 radical 90, or 3 radical 10, over 3. Would those 3's cancel? So that's why it's just radical 10. Okay. So yeah, the calculator helps a lot, but if you don't have the calculator, this is how to do it. And if you're not understanding what's going on with it and you're getting confused, this is how to do it the long way. You guys, of course, won't do a lot of this the long way. That's why we kind of go through it, and then we leave it alone. So I'm going to pass these out.